Hello, rugby fans. I'm Brendan Monroe from BC Rugby. Thank you for joining us for this live coverage of the BC Bears against England Counties. England Counties in white with the white trunks, and BC in also with a fairly white kit, but they have blue trunks and yellow accents on the shoulders. We're just a little bit late joining the audio portion, so we will go to the starting lineups in just a moment. I'm Brendan Monroe from BC Rugby, and joining me on the broadcast is Andy Blackburn. Andy, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Great to be with you again, Brendan. Beautiful evening here. Must be 70 degrees plus, and a wonderful setting for England to kick off their Canada tour.
England on the attack early on. They will be a dangerous team to contend with in the middle of the field. Their strength will be those forwards, and that'll cause all kinds of headaches for the BC Bears.
Wonderfully placed kick there by number 10, Freddie Gavitas, and a charge down there by the England inside centre, Chris May. And the try awarded. Terrible start there for BC Bears, but a wonderful kick there from England's fly half. Put it into the corner, didn't go out, made the fullback try and clear it, and was charged down by the ensuing chase by Chris May there from the Hertfordshire and Old Albanians Rugby Union Club.
And before we can even get through the starting lineups, May has the England Counties 15 on the board. A very, very bright start for England Counties, who last met the BC Bears here in Vancouver back in 2010. And they had a similar kind of start to that game, going up early and holding on to the lead throughout that match.
Not the start that BC Bears wanted there, Brendan. Let's see if they can bounce back.
Doing the kicking for England Counties is Freddie Gavitas out of Kent and Blackheath.
One of the older rugby union clubs back in England there, Brendan, Blackheath Rugby Football Club. And is successful with a conversion. A 7-0 early lead to England Counties.
Great strike on the ball on that conversion attempt, and the full 7 points being taken by the visitors as the hometown Bears under some very early pressure.
I think the BC Bears need to flush that one and start all over again. Pretend this is the kickoff.
Here's an opportunity, but reeled in very quickly by Sam Baker.
A speculative pass by England there, looking very inventive, running the ball out of their own 22, but here's an opportunity here for a counter-attack for the BC Bears. Exert some pressure now on the England team. Good line defense there. England stopped behind the gain line. And again, through the hands, showing some shape. Early ball to the wing. And well shut down there by the BC Bears outside backs.
So going through those starting lineups that we missed right at the outset for BC, the front row consists of Anthony Luca, Misha Gavorchin, and Ryan Ackerman. Your second row is Sam Clark and Liam Chisholm. And your flankers are Brendan Kelleher and Alex Boyd. The youngster Tatusi Vikalani slots in at number 8 after a late scratch to Glenn McKinnon. Scrum half Chris Robinson, and your fly half is James Reiki. Centers Doug Fraser and Joe Dolasau, and your wingers are Cully Quirk and Crosby Stewart, with the fullback Gareth Marsden.
Great take by Crosby Stewart there. It was a great box kick with lots of hang time, but showed some good nerves. Now BC Bears have an opportunity to put a few phases together and see what they can do. Possibly getting isolated here.
So we try to patch in the audio from the referee, just peaking a little bit. Our apologies about that one. We continue on through the starting lineups as the Bears have this penalty. England Counties in the front row have Trevor Davison, Matt Cornish, and Elliot Miller-Mills. The second row is Dan Williams and Rob Conquest, and your flankers are Keith Lofton, who's the captain, Niall Davidson, and Ryan Parkinson is your number 8 man. Scrum half, Tom Banks. Fly half, Freddie Gabatas. Your wingers, Leo Fielding, Sam Baker, and Matt Shepard. And not to forget our centers, Chris May and Sam Winter.
Line out steal there by England Counties. Not what BC Bears would have wanted after a nice penalty kick to touch by James Reekie. And again, showing willingness to put the ball through their hands and take on this BC Bears midfield defense. Steps back inside. Little dart there, makes the gain line, and England just happy to go through a few phases here and find their way into the game. Everybody getting a touch of the ball. Nice face ball there across the hooker, and good shape set out left.
BC stepping into that tackle line very quickly, looking for the turnover. Good work in the breakdown, though, by Counties as they continue in possession.
Lovely miss pass, and England winger there just put through, and a great offload, good support. Knock on there, I believe, by BC Bears.
Yes, that ball poked forward, advantage being played for the moment, and now the whistle goes for the knock on.
Brendan, the England team all getting early touch is very vital when you're playing your first game on tour. BC Bears looking a little bit unsettled, possibly because of the early 7 points scored on them, but I do admire England's intent and invention here, just running the ball from anywhere, getting lots of touches, lots of confidence, obviously enjoying the fact that this is summer rugby, even though we're not even in summer yet. These conditions are pretty foreign, I'm guessing, to a lot of these English lads who are used to playing in the typical English weather between September and April. So great invention, looking forward to an open, exciting game today.
As we reset the scrum, both of these teams really just at the start of their tour for England, like you said, and BC starting their summer campaign. Most of these players having finished their club season about 4 weeks ago, a couple weeks break, and then into training for the BC Bears as they get ready for their summer fixtures against the Prairie Wolfpack, against the Atlantic Rock, and against the Ontario Blues in the month of July. So a little bit early in the season to call it a warm-up match, as I'm sure the coaching staff would have liked to have this game serve as a follow-on to other matches, with maybe not a month transpiring between the fixtures, but certainly an opportunity for these players to show the coaching staff what they can deliver in a very meaningful game, as Coach Gabriel Fulcher said. And these players for BC will be tested by the skill and by the speed of the England Counties team.
Worrying signs there, though, Brendan, for the BC Bears scrum coach Angel Sividanes. The All Burnaby front row there that has been stalwarts of the BC Bears these past few years were unfortunately manhandled in that first scrum. So hopefully they can tighten things up there, but an ensuing penalties resulted in a 50-yard gain and a 10-meter line out here for the England Counties. Driving maul here.
BC slowing down the scrum originally, but now it's driving forward, and a good position on the attack for England Counties.
Nice switch, straight up by the winger. Looks like the ball was knocked on, so a let off there for BC Bears. But again, lots of bodies in motion, lots of angles there, lots of invention, and great to see that England have come out to entertain.
And a very big crowd here at Clahany Park in West Vancouver, enjoying this brilliant Friday evening rugby match between two top sides here.
I can think of no better place, Brendan, to show off Canada than Clahany Park. When I first came over here 16 years ago, it was one of the first fields I visited, and when you look at the tree line sidelines, it's a wonderful place for the English team to kick off their tour. Let's see if this scrum does a little bit better than the first scrum of the day.
Scrum collapsing.
Yeah, Chris Robinson here, the hometown native, the real brains of the operation, getting a chance to impress in front of his local crowd, the Capilano Rugby Football Club.
You see Micha Gavorchin standing in the middle there for the BC Bears in the hooker position. I saw his mom here in the crowd with us. Micha's sister playing in the curtain raiser game for the Vancouver Island Crimson Tide, who won the regional championship against Vancouver just a few minutes ago. And you can watch that game on the archives on bcrugby.com/live at your leisure, anytime. You'll see it as the most recent video on the archive player. And many of Canada's best female rugby players involved in that competition. And it was a great game with a 29-26 win for the Vancouver Island Crimson Tide.
The early set piece, a bit of a worry here for BC, and I would probably be looking to avoid as many scrums as possible. But England opting for the points there, so showing some respect and wanting to put a bit of distance between themselves and the BC Bears. So an early opportunity to put the lead to 10 points by the English fly half, Freddie Gabitas. Interesting kicking style there. Seems to be winding himself up a little bit.
Gabitas, the recently graduated teacher out of Exeter University, looking to serve a lesson up to the BC Bears scrum and doing so effectively with that 3 points, bumping their lead now up to 10-0, having played just over 10 minutes of the opening period.
This is a real test today, Brendan, for the BC Bears, picked mainly from the four most successful clubs over the last couple of seasons, Burnaby Lake, UBC, UVic, and the Capilanos. So a great opportunity for some of these guys to impress for higher honors. Turnover ball here for BC. Opportunity outright numbers if the ball goes early.
Ryan Ackerman with the carry, the former Canadian Football League player with the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Very strong ball carrier, Ryan Ackerman. He's one of the most dynamic big men on the field, possibly because of his CFL background, as you say, Brendan.
How great is that, though, when you spend an athletic career just blocking people to finally get a chance to carry the ball? That must be a great thrill coming to rugby, and one of those rewards that the big men get in the rugby game that you just don't get in Canadian or American football.
I wish we could attract a few more of them, Brendan. Stoppage here. Looks like it's an injury to one of the English forwards. Yeah, there's got to be some nerves for these BC Bears boys. They're not professionals. They play club rugby here, and when you're playing against an England Counties team, it doesn't matter if it's from the first tier or the third tier or the community game, as this England team is. It's still quite daunting to be playing one of the top nations in the world. So I feel that maybe there's a little bit of early nerves, and just hoping 15-20 minutes into the game, those nerves will settle and the BC Bears boys will calm down and get into their stride.
That's Keith Laughlin, the captain, who's being attended to by the county's medical staff.
Yeah, from Northumberland and the Bladen Rugby Union Club. Our own fly half today, James Reekie, hails from the north of England. I believe he's a Durham lad.
That sounds right.
He's been over here for a few years now. Talented player. I've seen him play in the centres for a few years, and quite a useful fly half. He may even know some of these guys.
If I recall, James was involved in the England counties program at the under-18 level, or the England A. Andy, maybe you can tidy up what the specific competition. That would be the north of England under-18 that he participated with many years ago.
When you're in the school system and you play for your counties before you go into the Colts or the U19s, to get to the next level, you have to play for your regions. So it could well be the north of England, it could be the Midlands, it could be the southeast, the southwest, and it's just part of the pathway to England honours. You just don't go straight from Yorkshire, Lancashire, Gloucestershire, or we'd say here BC, Alberta, you have to play for the next region. So that means that James played higher level than county. He actually played for the north of England, which is a lot of tough rugby there. When you look at Lancashire, who's dominated the county championship for the last 15, 20 years, and now more recently Cornwall down in the southwest. So obviously played a high level, and we'll be looking forward to test himself personally against guys that he may well have played against or played with when he was back in England.
Several of these BC players right on the cusp of representing Canada as well, as you talk about coming through the system and representing your region, representing your province, and representing your country. Liam Chisholm is a good example of that, the second rower. You'll see him out on the field because he's taller than everybody else. At 6'7" is Liam Chisholm, getting his first test cap earlier this year against Brazil as part of the America's Rugby Championship. At the same time, Joe Dolsow, the outside center, getting his first test cap. Journeyman, originally from Fiji, has been in the club system for a long time here in British Columbia, and finally making his mark on the national stage for Canada earlier this year.
Great to see Joe get his opportunity. It feels like he's been around forever, probably because he has. Oh, good tackle there. Nice chop tackle by the BC winger there, Cully Quirk. Needed to be made.
Cully Quirk, part of that University of British Columbia Thunderbirds team that went 20-0 this year. They won their second consecutive Roundsfell Cup as the top club team in British Columbia, and they made it look easy throughout the year. The only team to defeat them in the last 18 months, Trinity College out of Dublin, when they were on tour across to the UK and Ireland during the Rugby World Cup season in 2015, but Cully Quirk coming from a tremendous program at the University of British Columbia here in Vancouver, and they're very well trained, they're very well drilled, and getting an opportunity here in the provincial colors is Cully Quirk.
Yeah, for the English viewers, UBC, UVic are our top two BC club teams, which it's probably hard for a lot of British clubs to draw a comparison. I suppose the best comparison, Brendan, would be a Hartbury College and the Loughborough Students, who are playing in National League One, where these county players come from. So UBC, when they were over, managed to beat Oxford University and New Zealand Combined Universities and finished third in that tournament over in the UK. It was played around the same time as the World Cup. I actually met up with a lot of the guys over there, and they didn't even take their full-strength team, so quite the results.
BC Bears looking for better results in the first half, as we've played nearly 20 minutes, and they still find themselves looking for their first points of the game.
Well, if they want better results, Brendan, they've got to stop giving away penalties and avoid scrums. Having said that, looked like a knock-on, but the referee waves play on.
Our referee out in the middle, Dave Smorchevsky today.
Good carry there by Taituzi Vikalani. Just out of school a year ago, probably only 18, maybe 19 years of age. A real prospect for the Canada setup, and hope Taituzi goes well today. He's come out of the BC U17 program and straight into the BC Bears.
Comes from great rugby stock, has a couple of brothers that play rugby at the premier level, and his father, of course, having earned some test caps for Canada, or Tonga, I should say.
Looked like a bit of crossing there, managed to put the ball through the hole, and when the English forward, I think, was in space, just lost control of the ball. So third scrum of the day now, and hopefully BC can avoid any penalties here. Last two scrums, I think, have both resulted in penalties and 6 points as well.
The England Counties scrum has looked very forceful and very determined and putting BC under a lot of pressure, although maybe that scrum will be depowered just a little bit, as we see just on the edge of your screen an injury to Trevor Davison out of Durham and Bladen. Loose head prop, staying on his feet, but obviously troubled by a leg injury there, and that will affect him, well, no doubt, in the push in the scrum.
Built like a cornflake box there, Brendan. I think he looks like he's fine. He's returning to the scrum now. So Alex Boyd asking a couple of questions there, the referee. Good to see Boyd to get a crack, the open side flanker from Capellanos. I know Boydie really well. He made his Canada Rugby League debut last fall against the USA in the Colonial Cup and won 2-0. A great Boydie story that got him his new nickname, Rocky, was after the game in the pub, he decided he wanted to get the boys up to run the stairs from the Rocky movie, and nobody wanted to go with him. They were all settled in for the evening, so Boydie went off on his own, ran the stairs. I'm sure he was shadow boxing on his way up with his hood on, and proceeded to have a load of photographs taken with random strangers, and hence has earned the nickname Rocky.
Fantastic. He is one of those ball carriers with absolutely no fear. Will just charge in. Maybe that's some of those rugby league skills on display. Some of these guys having played, having both, some of the players on both teams having both league and union experience.
Well, Boyd is also a hockey player. He was born in Brisbane, interestingly enough, and grew up in Winnipeg. And he spent a couple of years in Brisbane playing ice hockey, and they approached him to see if he'd play for the Australian ice hockey team. He only had to do one more year and he would have qualified, but he moved back to Canada, so he could have been a dual rugby international in Canada and an Australian ice hockey international.
Sometimes these athletes get focused on one sport, but truly we see a lot of benefits from multi-sport as these athletes come up in age, and BC Rugby certainly encouraging players to get involved with not just rugby, but with other sports throughout the year and stay fit, stay active throughout, and just really build all those mechanics as players grow as athletes, both men and women.
Lots of opportunities here. Unfortunately, maybe too many opportunities when you realize all the sports fighting for top-tier athletes like Alex Boyd. And the UK, back in my days, predominantly a rugby, soccer and cricket nation with defined seasons, managed to attract and retain a lot of the top athletes. And as we're seeing here today, at the England counties level, there's plenty on show.
Chris Robinson, who plays his club rugby here at Capilano Rugby Club, has a lot of supporters in the crowd. He'll feed this scrum once we get it finally reset. We're still looking for signs of encouragement from BC in the scrum, as they have been put under a lot of pressure. Getting nice and low this time.
Yeah.
Too low.
Maybe the referee balancing things up there, but a nice let off there for BC to clear the lines, get into the English half and start to put some phases together.
We're still looking for that first real ball in hand possession for the BC Bears, as they have taken a quick pass into the tackle on a couple of occasions, and really nothing much more to speak of in terms of offensive attack so far in the opening 20 minutes.
Definitely an exciting backline here for the BC Bears, with Doug Fraser, Joe Dalasau in the centres, and the electric Crosby Stewart on the right wing, Gareth Marsden at fullback. If we can just win some first phase ball, and again, almost lost the line out, but here's an opportunity.
Good bravery shown by the hooker Gavorchin as he gets possession settled for the Bears.
Yeah, Physicality there hit the ball up in the middle, but was just penalised for holding on, so I'm guessing there's another 3 points on offer here for the Buddha, Freddie Gabitas.
And you have to wonder, as you talked about England counties respecting the BC defense in the early going, when England counties will stop going for points and start going for the corners and really putting BC under even more pressure than they have been so far. The boot from Gabitas has been very good, but they have certainly not tested that BC line out deep in the corner just yet, choosing instead to go for posts.
Brendan, these guys may not be professionals in the truest sense of the word, but the way the England have set out their stall here, all the bits and pieces, technically, they're right now streets ahead of the BC Bears. Now, that may well just be the BC Bears also have been thrown together. This English team, I do believe, played against France Fédérale back in March, winning 32-3. They have probably had camp before coming over, so look more like a well-oiled machine right now, and BC Bears just need to gel quickly, find the groove. And I know this is the first game of a long summer season, but I'd like to see signs sooner rather than later of a few partnerships clicking.
It looked like Gabitas slipped just a little bit underfoot on the kick as it drifted wide, and the scoreline remains 13-0 for England counties.
Long restart there from James Reiki. Gavitas decides to go wide. Inside ball from the outside centre, the fullback. It's Matt Shepherd. Maybe a little bit of frustration creeping in there. Was it Anthony Luca, the BC Bears captain, who looked to get involved in a little bit of afters there?
And definitely England Counties dictating the play in the breakdown as they are in the scrum.
Bit of a swinging arm maybe in the clearing process there, just saying to his opposite number, hello, my name's Anthony, how do you do?
And that's kind of the way that Ant Luca plays. If you look at his Twitter account, his handle is Angry Luca. So definitely a player that plays with some aggression and not afraid to use that physicality to try to dictate play.
Just maybe giving a nice welcome to Canada to one of the English forwards.
Well, the hospitality has been good so far, and I'm sure they'll enjoy more hospitality as the tour goes on. We're really thrilled that England Counties have been able to come out and play some rugby against us as well as the other Canadian provinces. It's good to see the level of quality from this side as it helps the BC team get ready for their domestic fixtures this summer.
Strong run from Sam Winter there, the outside centre, kept pumping his legs, gave his forwards a platform, and referee maybe calling a turnover, possibly a maul was called there, Brendan. And they're putting in the scrum there to BC Bears, so another opportunity here for the English forwards to test out the BC scrum.
It's been a struggle at scrum time for BC, just looking for some signs of positivity in the scrum. We saw them earn one penalty pretty recently, but just not getting enough done in the scrum time yet. Great angle here from our camera. Look how low that scrum is, and again it goes down.
Difficult for the referee to know what's going on here. Could be numerous things, Brendan, and on a day like today, we'd like to see fewer scrums and certainly fewer restarts to the scrum. Let's ball in, ball out, and let's enjoy some summer rugby. I keep saying summer, Brendan, but it's not summer until the 21st of June. It's just felt like summer this year since about February the 15th.
It's perfect for both the home team and for the tourists who took a nice bath in the ocean on Fourth Beach just a couple of nights ago as part of their warm-up to this game. Getting some sightseeing done as well in Vancouver, and obviously Vancouver, a very popular destination for English and British tourists throughout the summer months.
A bomb by Reiki, taken well there by his the opposite fullback there, Matt Shepherd. Good shape set up on the right side. Good midfield combination. Chris May makes a break, looking for supporters inside. Steps, looks outside, gets the ball away. A little bit late, a little bit low, and a chance gone begging there for his midfield partner, Sam Winter.
Chris May looked to just back himself and run into the corner, and a nice sidestep, but maybe
more of a goose step than a sidestep, I'd say, Brendan.
Just running out of gas at the end as he looked for his second try of the game.
But that midfield partnership seems to be functioning pretty well at the moment. Some hard direct running, and just had the ball in one hand there. Looked to offload out the back door, and it just dropped a little bit low, and I believe it hit Sam Winter, the Hertfordshire and Bishop Stortford player, on the knee, and then obviously on the hands to force a knock on. So there's going to be a real test here, 5 yards out for the BC Bears scrum. Been a very stop-start affair so far, Brendan. Not what I'd expected on a day like today. I was hoping for some top-of-the-ground, free-flowing, end-to-end, side-to-side action.
Yes, we're definitely playing what could be characterized as some Northern Hemisphere rugby.
I thought you were going to say Northern English rugby then. No, absolutely. And there's been a movement, there's been talk, and we've had this discussion before on air, Brendan, about moving the game to summer rugby and how there's more tries scored, especially in the last few rounds of the Viva Premiership in the UK. And it's going to be hard to change 100+ years of tradition, but I'm sure the neutral sports fan would certainly watch a lot more games if they were played in this weather in summer than in the rainy November to February months.
Tradition a huge part of both of these sides, as we know the long storied history of England rugby and England counties rugby. For viewers overseas, British Columbia Rugby Union, founded in 1889, over 125 years of rugby tradition here in British Columbia, and some famous victories scored over international sides like the Australian Wallabies, and even a victory over the British Irish Lions back in 1966.
Good run again by Chris May. Sorry, good there, Brendan. Great run. Back three linked up really well. Brought Sam May back on the switch. Looks an exciting prospect, the England inside centre from the old Albanians club. Lots of width here on the play. Strong carry by Matt Cornish, the London Irish Wild Geese player. But the ball's been turned over. And here's an opportunity.
Some good support running, and finally out to Stewart, who's an electric player, but did not get too far on that sequence. We'll need to see BC get the ball out wide if they're going to score points in this game. And the English forward pack just doing such a good job of disrupting at the breakdown, making those recycles all but impossible to come out quickly. And when they finally do get the ball out wide, do BC, they manage to earn a penalty and continue to march upfield.
There was an opportunity there on the right flank, a 4-on-3, needed to go through the hands a bit quicker, and the English defence scrambled and shut it down very quickly. So BC Bears will not get many opportunities tonight, so when they do, they're going to have to execute. And at some stage, they're going to have to just throw the shackles off and play with a bit of abandon and just have a go.
Good take there from Chisholm, going high after that one.
Solid run by Gareth Marsden there, met by Nigel Baker, the Gloucestershire and Cinderford right wing.
Boyd struggling to get the ball back, but BC doing a good job in the ruck, and they continue forward.
Chris Robertson did well there to get to the gain line. Tatuzi Vikalani finds another couple of yards. Ball needs to come back. He's already been penalised for holding on. And it looks like he's been penalised for holding on again. He's just not landing on the ball, Brendan. He's just presenting the ball to those English back rowers. I believe that was Niall Davidson, the open side flanker. Really got to protect that ball going into contact. Again, these guys are playing at a high level. It may only be National League 1 or National League North or South 2, but you just got to make it difficult. These guys have been playing 15+ years, and they do the bits and pieces so well.
That ball stays in field on the penalty, giving BC a chance to kick it back. Settling under it is Tom Banks.
Banks to Shepherd. Shepherd finds Leo Fielding on the left wing. A little bit of a miscommunication. Referee says play on, looked like potential knock on. And now they have numbers outright. 2-on-1 here with the second row, draws. Dummies, stays alive. And he just passes the ball forward. Unfortunately, had a little bit too much time there to make his decision, and maybe he just allowed his support player to overrun him. Maybe he should have let that go a second earlier. What do you think, Brendan?
Well, I think that play probably should have stopped with the knock-on about 30 meters earlier, but our referee, Dave Smarchewski, seeing it slightly different than I did up here in the press box. And the BC players maybe thought the same thing, as it didn't look like they reacted to the bouncing ball with the defense required in this situation.
Well, defensively, Brendan, we've got to match up a little bit better than that. You could see the shape that was set was nice and wide, and the BC Bears backs were too busy looking at the ruck, and there was an opportunity out wide, and it was a lovely dummy. Nice little break there from Rob Conquest, the big English second row, but I just felt maybe he had a little bit too much time and didn't make the best decision. Alex Boyd in there to support Tatuzi Vikalani. England struggling, BC Bears struggling to retain possession in the contact area, and a turnover advantage possibly still being played. Good rumbling run there by the tight head prop Elliot Miller-Mills from the Macclesfield club. Makes a good 5 or 10 yards. Oh, lovely line. Oh, maybe you could have drawn him past a bit earlier there, Brendan, as well.
Crosby Stewart doing a good job of trying to disrupt in any way he could, and BC able to keep England from scoring on what was a exciting break from Counties.
Good footwork there by the English fly half, Gabitas. Now numbers left. Bit of hesitation there by the English scrum half, Tom Banks. Oh, fired a bit of a bullet there, and referee deemed the ball went backwards. So England get a chance to reset.
To Captain Laughlin, who was shaken up earlier in the game, but seems no worse for wear now, as is Trevor Davison.
Yeah, soft try, unfortunately, there. Just going through the phases, one out, hitting big props flat on the gain line, left and right, and the BC Bears goal line defense not organizing itself and not getting off the line quick enough. So good continuity by England, but unfortunately a bit of a soft try.
Yeah, you have mismatches with players. The centers are trying to make tackles on props, and England just pressing forward slowly but surely and crossing the line for their second try of the game. And BC still adrift now by a score of 18-0 as we close in on the end of the first half. And it's been a disappointing one for the hometown BC Bears.
Just not allowed to get into the game. You've got to secure first phase possession, and you've got to be better in the contact area. We look like we're getting turned over, or at least we're getting penalized every time we take the ball into the contact area. So some simple basics, possibly landing on the ball, making it harder for the opposition to jackal, speed to the breakdown, knowing who's hitting the ball up, having bodies there. If you look at the England shape and setup of their phase play, they've got big props and second rows out wide. They're not afraid to take the ball into the contact. They know they're going to clean out, win the ball back. So lessons here to be learned by watching the English team, and just would like to see BC just have some continued possession to see what they can do.
They've definitely been denied possession for much of the first half, as it has been a lot of one-way traffic so far. England Counties now leading 20-0.
Just keeping the scoreboard ticking over. I don't think we've really seen the BC Bears in the opposition 22 yet.
They have not been inside the 22.
Good take by the England second row. Driving maul, moving into midfield, still moving. Penalty advantage. Now they can throw their chance their arm, and it's a 2-on-1 here with Shepherd at his right wing. Nigel Baker manages to evade one defender, two defenders, left end. Gabitas in support, keeps the ball alive, finds his outside centre, the ever-present Sam Winter, and looks like he was off his feet there at the ruck, and there's still an opportunity.
Bears defense spread wide.
What a wonderful break by the second row, Rob Conquest. Took the gap like an outside centre, squared up and delivered a wonderful pass to the try scorer of the left wing. I believe that was Leo Fielding.
And it's tough to watch, but the Bears defense in tatters as England able to slice through the Bears defenders in open play, as the structure just coming apart for the Bears in defense, and England at this point just running them in, making it look easy.
Great shape there. I believe the number 8, Ryan Parkinson from the Macclesfield club, took the ball, delivered a lovely pass to Rob Conquest, and saw half a gap, accelerated, put the burners on, went straight through as if it was a midfield back, squared up, and then just delivered a lovely pass to his left wing.
And the previous 30 seconds in the build-up was just expansive rugby at high pace as well, and BC just not able to adapt on defense to that furious pace of attack that the England Counties team are coming in from the wings. 2-on-1 situations, BC Bears defenders being forced to make tough decisions on defense and not being given a lot of options, as they have talked a lot about in their build-up of working in a tackle line, working with the player to your left, working with the player to your right, working in groups of 3. And so many times we've seen defenders look up and try to find that player on either side of him, and there's a hole instead of a counterpart, and that's what's causing the Bears troubles right now.
Well, it all began with some great footwork by the England right wing, Nigel Baker. He didn't have a lot of room to work in, but he managed to beat 2-3 defenders, fend, keep the ball alive, and then once the penalty advantage was given, the English team recognized that they could up the tempo, give it a go, and they did. And that's the kind of rugby we expect from a national team.
Nice bit of foot skill there from the Bears, trying to give the hometown fans something to cheer about here in the first half. Not too much time left in the opening 40 minutes. Trying to get at least one score on the board before we reach the intermission.
Sloppy play, unfortunately started with a poor pass from Chris Robinson, and then another poor pass that resulted in a knock-on. So really struggling to find our feet here, and Gareth Marsden on the counter-attack. Was that Cully Quirk?
I believe that was the fullback Marsden taking that one up.
Liam Chisholm links with Gareth Marsden.
You see the Bears just have so little time to react once they do get the ball. There's always a defender right on them, and I think they're struggling just a little bit with the pace of play as the tackles come in fast and furious, as they will need to up their tempo if they want to expose any kind of holes in the English defense.
I think you nailed it, Brendan. It's the basics under pressure. When you're not used to playing against a team of this level with line speed and the defensive structure like this, you've got a split second less to catch pass and make a good decision. And when you're playing week in, week out at a slightly slower pace and you've suddenly got to raise your game, these guys are obviously capable of playing at that level, otherwise they wouldn't have been selected. But you need to have the opposition on a regular basis to be able to adapt. And that's often the jump between playing county rugby and international rugby. Some guys are superstars at the county level, but can't make the transition to international because they just don't have the time and the space to make good decisions at the next level up. And this is where BC Bears, some guys today will impress, and some guys will go away and realize this is a lost opportunity. And some guys will adapt, Brendan, as the game goes along, because it's only the first half, and I'm sure in the second half, some subs will be given an opportunity, and we may see a bit of a different game plan.
James Reekie lining up this kick from 41 meters out. He's definitely got the distance with that boot of his, and it's going to fall a little bit short by the look of it.
And it must be the stroke of half-time because the ball was kicked nonchalantly away. I see the goal there of going for 3 points, just to get some points on the board before half-time, just for psychological reasons. But I just think right now, BC Bears need to get their hands on the ball in the 22, or at least the attacking area, and just give it a go. Even if it's a chip and a chase or a crossfield kick, whatever it's going to take to keep this English defense honest, because right now their line speed is so fast and their defensive structure is so cohesive that it's going to be difficult to break them down otherwise.
Yeah, they're just mostly in reaction and not asking any questions of the English defense at this point in time. But hopefully better things to come for the hometown BC Bears as we return from the break. Halftime score, England Counties 25, BC Bears 0, and Andy and I will be back in just a couple minutes.